My next patron question is from Graham, who would like to know the best route to take a long-running film series. The Alien franchise has a unique disparity regarding its tone. The original movie by Ridley Scott was largely focused on horror, while James Cameron's sequel went in a more action-based direction. Both of these tones have proven successful for the franchise, and each installment in the franchise has shifted towards both directions in the decades since. Do you have a preference between these tones? Because of the different directors who put their stamp on Aliens, I do find it interesting how each film puts their own stamp on the concept, and even the way they explore the horror aspect differs. The first Alien movie starts off as a slow burn relying on atmosphere to pull the audience in, and then as soon as that little alien bursts out of the crew member's chest, it turns into a haunted house movie. It's reliant on being uncertain when the alien will pop out and stab one of the Nostromo crew, and a lot of the action is also in these cramped hallways and other parts of the ship. Then for Aliens, James Cameron went for something akin to a war movie with obvious allusions to the Vietnam War. The people are Marines, with Cameron placing a heavy emphasis on their weaponry. It's basically about these heavily armed soldiers with that futuristic technology who were caught by surprise by the horde of Xenomorphs. Alien 3 became a prison movie, with Ripley trapped with these ruthless convicts, and Alien Resurrection put a lot of emphasis on being slimy and icky. Alien vs. Predator seems to most embrace being a giant monster B-movie, while Aliens vs. Predator Requiem was akin to 80s slasher movies, as the principal monster sneaks around town and slices its way through teenagers and other townsfolk. When Ridley Scott returned to the franchise for Prometheus and Alien Covenant, he tried to take it in a more philosophical direction and about the alien's specific place in the ecosystem. And now with Alien Romulus, the films have sort of gone full circle, as that one felt like a combination of Alien and Aliens. So while one can argue the quality has gone up and down, most of them do try to carve out their own identity to try and make themselves stand out. I think there is a place for all these approaches to the material and how to explore the terror of the Xenomorphs. Each director also tried to put their fingerprints on it, even when they dealt with the studio having other ideas. My favorite film in the series is Aliens, largely thanks to James Cameron's decision to turn it into both a war movie and a story about motherhood. I often say that the most effective horror films are those where you grow to care about the characters, rather than the filmmakers merely treating them like morsels to be killed off. And that's definitely key to the success of Aliens. Despite Cameron creating multiple Marines, he's able to establish all of them and not just make them interchangeable personalities merely there to die one by one. And then there is Ripley's arc, as she cares for the now orphaned Newt and becomes her protector against the aliens. I actually find the film genuinely heartwarming because of that relationship, and Aliens is the most emotional movie in the franchise as a result. Because the best horror films are ones that are more than just blood and guts. It's what made what happened in Alien 3 all the more shocking and upsetting. You know that sweet mother-daughter bond that the last movie spent a lot of screen time developing, and the satisfaction that came when Ripley defeated the final alien to save that little girl's life? Well, sorry, we're gonna rip that away from you. A lot of David Fincher's movies are known for having a cold, bleak tone, and Alien 3 is particularly unpleasant in what it puts the characters through. And even though the movie is infamous for the arguments that Fincher and 20th Century Fox had over it, and his dislike for the finished film, his fingerprints are still evident throughout. Although personally, even as a fan of Fincher's work, I find Alien 3 a tad too unpleasant and mean-spirited. Alien Resurrection also has a lot of Jean-Pierre Jeunet's touches with his love for strange camera angles, and like I said, how much he pays attention to how gooey and icky the aliens can get. There is some visual creativity in the movie, even if I find the story underwhelming, and making a Ripley clone was especially silly. Regarding the future of the franchise, Alien Romulus seems to hint at where it can go. While there are elements of his earlier film, Don't Breathe, Fede Alvarez seemed to make it more of an homage to the first two movies, which has become the norm for long-running franchises lately. Filmmakers pick and choose their favorite elements from what came before and construct a story out of them, which has been done well. However, I do think what makes the Alien franchise so long-lasting is how each filmmaker tried to put their individual stamp on it. I think it's a series that lends itself to multiple styles, whether a war movie, a haunted house, or a gross-out fest. Alvarez will be directing the next Alien sequel, and it'll be interesting to see what new things he does with it. But someone who I think will be an excellent fit is Andrew Stanton. He's of course a massive science fiction fan, and there was an episode of Stranger Things he directed that particularly showed he has the chops to direct a horror movie. I would love to see his take on Alien. Thank you for your question, Graham.